Sorry, guys. I just realised I've got some liquid. I called in sick to work because my knee hurts. That's weak. I would go to work every day until I waste away and turn into bones. When are you gonna link up with Hassan? Well, we've done it once before, but I don't know. Oh! Sorry. You all don't need to worry about that. Did anything happen whilst I was streaming news-wise? Because your work is sitting down. I don't know what people are talking about. Is there some protest this weekend? Actually, no, I won't be on Saturday. I've got a commitment, which I probably can't get out of. But I can't get out of it. Because I'd have no way to get back from London if I... There's a pots and pans protest tomorrow. 1st of August, stop Gaza... National March is next weekend, so I'll probably go to that, to be honest. I need to get a... Bro, the US is sanctioning the PLO. Yasser Arafat is rolling in his goddamn grave. But yeah, I mean, which aspect of the PLO? I saw this. I googled US Polo instead of US PLO. Oh my god. Right, let's look who got sanctioned. Happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Guten Abend, yeah. Did you manage to fix your headphones? They just started fucking working. I don't know why. They just weren't working and then they just started fucking working. Like, pretty crazy. So the State Department reported to Congress that the PLO and PA are not in compliance with their commitments. The PLO commitments It's so funny. Like, what even is this? Like, just sanctioning the PLO. Feels like it feels like I woke up in 1975. Henry Kissinger is sanctioning the PLO. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where that was happening. Us Henrys don't claim him. I thought you said US Henrys don't claim him, and I was like, only US? Sounds like the orcs called, bestie. Nope, it sounds like you'll need to mind your own goddamn business. And the Middle East Peace Commitments Act of 2000, including by initiate. What even is the MEPCA? I've never even heard of that. Let's have a look at that. Oh, it's 41 pages. I am not reading this. There's an... Thankfully, the AI summary is here. Hold the PLO and PA accountable. It requires the US president to report to Congress on whether the PLO are fulfilling their commitments, impose sanctions, promote... Oh, God, Jesus Christ, like, who cares? It's just a bunch of slop written by fucking Bush. I am joking, by the way. They never wanted peace. Of course they didn't want fucking peace. I see some people who are like doing research on stream, reading articles on stream, and it's just like, would you want to watch me? Who sits there and watches someone just read an article? It's boring. Like, what am I going to do? Just go behind a paywall thing to just, Oh, there's been some actually brilliant news. Anthony Albanese is set to execute Drew Pavlou. That's really, really touching. Also, I was watching the most recent, I was watching the most recent... Have any of you heard of Cars for Kids? I was watching the most recent episode of TrueAnon, or listening to it rather, and they were talking about Five-ish, and it's like this sort of mascot that they made for Cars for Kids, and it's, oh god, I'll just show you it. It's actually for something called Oorah.
Anything to do special for Shabbos. Sorry. I just can't find anything to do special for Shabbos.
To clarify, this is a Jewish charity, and they have come up with like the most anti-Semitic thing possible.
Oh, Ari, don't feel sad. Everyone can find something special to do to prepare for Shabbos. Here's a song that might help you. And I'll need all your help out there, too. Can you help me? Oh, okay, great. Let's sing it together. Here it goes.
Shabbos is on its way. I'm doing something every day.
I mean, we're not listening to that. I feel like it'll be copyrighted. There's also... They were talking about this on TrueAnon. It's crazy. Like, I'll just show you. They took it to Israel.
I don't know. If I was getting in the background. Can you watch your back?
They just sort of danced and provoked Orthodox Jews. This is a Jewish charity. Like, I'm not joking. It's like... It's called Oorah. And as well, they mentioned in the episode that Oorah organised a Jewish summer camp. And they accidentally, because these people are just doing like crazy shit, they accidentally gassed some of the kids. Like, this is not a joke. They accidentally gave the kids carbon monoxide poisoning. All of them survived, but it's like, it's true. Oh wait, no, this is not. See, Oorah Kiruv Rechochim. Awaken and bring in those who are far, better known as Oorah, is an incorporated Orthodox Jewish outreach organisation. Like, the guy who runs it is Eliyahu Mintz. And this is what they did when they went to Israel. Listen to how much the guy filming it enjoys it. No. They look after, like, Jewish kids who do, who are, like, you know, like, doing fucking, I don't know, like, just want to do Torah studies, basically.
Kenny, they're gonna hurt you. Kenny's gonna hurt you.
The Israeli policeman is like, is it an Arab in the costume? If not, I'm not interested. It's like the strangest thing that you could possibly imagine. I don't know what the fuck that's all about. Wait, there's one other thing I wanted to watch with it. I remember when Destiny, the streamer, did a research stream to seem good faith. I wanted to scream to him how much important bits he kept ignoring. Of course he was ignoring. He only wanted to find out what he wanted to hear. Thanks as always, coffee lover. Right, what was I gonna... There were some other things that I wanted to watch. Oh yeah, wait. Actually... Oorah's always posting crazy shit. They did a video, apparently, of locking people in hot car. Oh, yeah, yeah.
If you can't make it and you want to get out, press that button.
Okay.
All right.
All
Your
right.
10 minutes starts now.
So this organisation, Cars for Kids, they talk about it, is like, Cars for Kids purports to be like, I don't know, you donate your car and you get a fucking, like, big tax break. Oh, sorry. And, like, they say that the cars are for kids somehow, but actually they're just not. They use them to fund this URA charity, the one you just saw with that mascot, 5-ish.
I can do this.
Hello, yeah, are they making the kids... No, the kids don't drive. They are for kids. Jewish... No, they're not for kids. Even, like... Wait, I'll show you. Look. In 2017, a report to the Attorney General, Laura Swanson of Minnesota, stated that Cars for Kids, a vehicle donation charity and sister organisation of URA, had misled donors in Minnesota regarding the use of their funds. Of the $3 million raised by Cars for Kids in Minnesota, less than $12,000 went to children in Minnesota, while 90% of the funds went to URA, which is based in New Jersey and operates summer camps in New York. The report also stated that URA had lost almost $10 million in real estate transactions. Also, is that guy an actor? That guy really looks like the guy called Psycho Pete from Always Sunny. It's not him, but it looks like him, if you know who I'm talking about.
Alaska.
This is the education you expect from my stream. Nah, I don't know. Staying in a hot car for 10 minutes is quite unappealing. Yeah, I mean, embezzling in the name of religion is, I feel like a capitalist pastime. Bassem Youssef will be on the Nelk Boys.
It is way too... Oh my god. I want to get out of here. Push the button.
Okay. Let's get you out of there. Oh, so not good.
No, it felt terrible.
I mean, I'm not claustrophobic, but I needed to get out.
That was one of the worst things I've ever gone through in my life. I feel like a pot of pasta. It seems fine at first, but like once that door closed, like almost immediately, like it gets really hot and like the air flow becomes almost a...
I was looking at Quora, which is, you know, like a great source. Apparently you can survive 4 hours. 100% chance of death at 4 hours, so...
Impressive.
I felt claustrophobic. Like, I felt like I couldn't breathe.
How long was it?
7 minutes?
7, that's it?
Yeah.
I felt like so much longer than that.
How do you feel about it when a parent might be leaving their kid in there for just a few minutes in the middle of the summer?
Are you kidding me? No, not at all.
Scary stuff.
I think to myself, like, I couldn't take it.
I could press the button, they couldn't press the button. They'd just be
They are actors. This has to be fucking acting.
sitting there, desperate. I can only imagine how a child or a baby would feel in there, just waiting for someone to come and get them.
They do an app I might get the app to make sure I just don't need my kids in there. I did not spread the Xmas cannibal story. It was all Pete, I swear. Well, I believe it. I choose to believe that he did eat his family. When you're accustomed to privilege, a hot car feels like oppression. I just think that you can't live in, like, hot cars. Like, I think it is, like, as much as probably there is a privilege to, like, you know, like, being, like, I don't want to be in hot cars, you know. I feel like the kind of thing is that, like, you know, I just feel like it's not a great idea. Right. Let's do something a bit more serious. A new article came out that I might read on stream after saying I wouldn't do it. Oh shit, actually we're definitely doing an article. There's a New Yorker article I really want to go through. Also, I'm gonna buy a camera so I can do my YouTube shit, but it means my Superman video is now delayed, so... Sorry, excuse me, I just burped. I'm making that noise intentionally, that's a joke there. That's not actually as a result of... how the Israeli right explains the aid disaster it created. So, they're just talking about, like, Nick Maynard, like, this is a bit of prelude. We'll just get into the interview. This is with Amit Sag, who's the chief political correspondent for Israel's Channel 12 News. Okay, so I'll just read the interview. You can read the whole article if you want elsewhere. For Americans who might not know your work, you're often talked about as someone who's very familiar with Netanyahu's thinking. Are you in touch with... Yeah, that's correct. I'm not a mouthpiece of Netanyahu. I'm a right-winger, but not more than this. I speak only for myself. I just meant that people say that you understand his thinking and have good sources in the government. I wouldn't deny it, yes. So tell me, what caused you to write this piece for the Free Press? So he wrote a piece for the Free Press, which is, I mean, Barry Weiss's outlet. Quora. I keep getting odd emails about their posts. I mean, I feel like Quora just is one of those people that spam you with emails. So this is Barry Weiss's outlet talking about starvation in Gaza. Gaza may well be approaching a real hunger crisis. So that's what Amit Sag originally said. And this article gives a bit of a different frame. So first of all, I don't think there is hunger in Gaza. I want to put that first and foremost. You do not think there is hunger in Gaza. I don't think that the hunger campaign that Hamas runs in international media is anything remotely connected to the truth. However, I do think there is a situation that can actually deteriorate to something like this. For the past 22 months, Hamas has been running a hunger campaign in Gaza. Israelis and maybe some Americans are wary of these accusations because they know it's propaganda. The fact that there is a developing crisis does not emanate from Israeli decisions, but from a cynical game played by Hamas and United Nations. However, Israel will be blamed for it. That's why I want Israel to be wise and not only to be just. It's really crazy because he's basically just admitting, yeah, they're starving, but he's like, oh, it's a trick being played on Israel. God. Just to be clear, your article does talk about a hunger crisis in Gaza. Developing. The piece is titled, this is the really good part, just square bracketing what he actually says. The piece is titled, The Price of Flour Shows the Hunger Crisis in Gaza. This would be like debating, this is kind of like what my problem is and why I wouldn't have that Jaiwan guy up. I've spoken to that Jaiwan guy so fucking much, and the Jaiwan guy is just like, yeah, there's no starvation in Gaza. It's a crazy thing to say. It's an absolutely insane thing to say. Like, genuinely. Sorry, apparently Candace Owens called up Harvey Weinstein to ask him who controls Israel. Who controls Hollywood. And she said, just say Jews already. The Jews who control Hollywood. Say it. And Harvey Weinstein was like, wait, I want to watch this. Like, by the way, I don't think Jews control Hollywood. I just want to see what she's saying.
That there was somebody who wanted you put away. That there may have been someone who wanted your company. Because to me, there is just overwhelming evidence that you were set up here. It looks to me like a modern day hit. I don't know who you upset. I don't know what they were after. But it just looks to me like a rigged system and they took you out. To me, it looks like...
Yeah, the media really wanted to take out Harvey Weinstein. He was a really subversive figure.
It was just a show trial, and the outcome was already determined before you even stepped into that courtroom. I do think that you stepped on somebody's toes. Like there's somebody's toes that you stepped on that you may not have been aware of when you were in Hollywood because you had a lot of power.
I feel like this is edited, right? I saw jump cuts.
You had a lot of power.
You know, I can't say who.
Why not? Why can't you say who? What do you have to lose?
Because I'm not sure that I'm right. You
Then
know,
you say, I think. Maybe. I really want to push you on this point, Harvey, because I think it's very significant. I mean, you had the greatest movies that were in Hollywood. You had a lot of power, and I'm wondering if there was anybody in Hollywood that you may...
Why is his face like that? I was thinking that as well. Maybe he's just in awe at meeting Candace Owens.
...have been fighting with at that time. That... Just anything that could have been going on. Because I think there's something bigger happening here.
What was the Israeli rationale for not following through with the commitments in the Oslo Accords, like the return of Area C? Basically, Israel wasn't interested in giving the Palestinians a state. They wanted to give Palestinians autonomy in land that basically Israel would control. And I don't think the PA ever came in to be like fully as they expected. But even though it does basically everything that they want.
It wasn't a fight per se, but the establishment, I would not say, was my friends.
Right.
Harvey Weinstein is like a multi-millionaire, right? Like, what part of the establishment did not like Harvey Weinstein? What films did he even make? Django Unchained, Good Will Hunting, Shakespeare in Love, Untouchable, Inglourious Basterds. Jesus Christ!
And what is the establishment in Hollywood?
It's normally the big studios, but I can't say that they were part of this.
Right. No, I'm just wondering, who in the end, who owns all those movies now? Who owns your catalog? What happened to your company?
We sold the catalog to a company called Be-In, you know what I mean, which is owned by the Qatari government, and we sold the other part of the library to a company called Spy.
Chris, I know Candace had... No, I will not hear you out. Candace Owens is awful, and I don't feel the need to... I just wouldn't sexualize her. She's just someone who's just horrendous.
Wow.
She's not beautiful either. She's just... she has an ugly, ugly soul.
And Lantern, which is owned by the Saudi Arabian government.
Very interesting. I'm asking these questions because my investigation into this isn't going to stop.
She definitely did want him to say Jewish people, but it's funny that he was just like, yeah, the Saudis and the UAE bought it all. Which is not surprising, you know, they buy up everything. I think Saudi Arabia owns the skins. Oh, she is not fine. I'm unliking that comment, Coffee Lover. She is not fine. Most definitely not fine. Have you seen The Settlers, a documentary by Louis Theroux? I have. The guy who made The Settlers spoke to me, actually. The guy who directed it. You need to... Yeah, spending too much time looking at Candace Owens on the internet, you know, you need to touch grass. And Gal Gadot are both gross, inside and out, in 100%. Yeah. She's with Ick for exposing Broggett. Who the hell is Broggett? Who is Broggett? What's Broggett? Sorry, Noel. Coffee Lover, it's okay, bro. It's okay. If you send $100, he will agree. It'll cost you a lot more for me to agree with Candace Owens being, you know, beautiful. As I say, her soul is far too ugly for being like a fan. She's just a really, really heinous, horrible person. What was I going to talk about? Just to be okay, there are reports of starvation deaths in Gaza. Are you denying those? I doubt 90% of it. I can't tell you that it doesn't exist in specific places or specific people, but I don't think that the numbers Hamas and the international media quote are the numbers. One of the things your piece says is that essentially for the entire duration of the war, there have been false warnings about a hunger crisis. Crisis. Why do you think the warnings were false previously? Hamas tried to depict a picture that does not exist. There was no hunger in Gaza. For years, Hamas has claimed that Gaza is starving. Hamas always used this as an alleged, this weapon of alleged hunger in order to get more humanitarian aid. A UN study from 2022, prior to the war, the genocide, found that more than 3/4 of Palestinian families reduced the number of meals that they consumed because of lack of food. I mean, it's hardly surprising. People are so incredibly poor in Gaza in so many places. Like, it's unsurprising that people were reducing the amount of meals that they had. Like, honestly. Prior to October the 7th, even. It was no means of life. It was bare life. The Times reported that at least 20 Palestinian children died from dehydration. Died from malnutrition and dehydration. So we're not denying that people died, right? No, we do not deny that people died. We just are not sure that people died from dehydration or starvation. That report I just quoted was from March of 2014. I see. I beg to differ with the NYT because the NYT bases its reports on Hamas sources. The NYT relies heavily on stringers in Gaza that have two options: either report what Hamas wants or die. And I blame the NYT for this. The head of the legal department of the NYT told me, "How can you blame us for writing what Hamas wants? Our journalists died because in the past they reported things that Hamas didn't like. This person told you this on record? They wanted to sue me. I claim that they relied on stringers who collaborated with Hamas. So they told you this privately." Yeah, you can quote it. David McGraw, the lead newsroom lawyer at the Times, was identified to me later by Segal as the person who allegedly said this. McGraw told the New Yorker, "I never said any of that. We never threatened to sue him, and our journalists have not been killed by Hamas." In 2023, McGraw asked Segal to make corrections to some statements he had made on the media, including that the Times employed ISIS-embedded stringers. Yeah, yeah, that's just, like, really fucking racist. That's a ban. Posting 3 messages in a row using a racial slur. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think that that's something that we can really have. I didn't catch it either. I mean, I didn't catch it. Sorry, I'm reading. So even if we take into account the fact that 20 children died of dehydration, which I doubt, which the IOF doubts, there is no way to double check it. In the past several days, a number of news organisations have called on Israel to allow international reporters to enter, that it has thus far largely restricted them from doing. I mean, yeah, this is the key point. Like, Israel and all of this, Israel and all of these people have, like, an expectation that, like, we're just meant to believe them when they're the ones who deny international reporters, when everything that actually is there points to the fact of, hey, yeah, Israel is actually mass starving people, it's doing all of these things, but, like, no, Israel just told us otherwise, so we should just, you know, believe that. We should just all believe this, what they're saying. Hi, Moomin. The article be like me when I like. I mean, this is also the problem. Like, say I was debating someone would be like, well, yeah, the New York Times actually said this. This is confirmed that, like, the New York Times uses Hamas sources. And it's just like, they'd say it and it'd be like, no, they don't. And they'd be like, look at this thing. And the thing they'd tell me to look at, it's like, hold on. Hamas protests. Someone said that there were Hamas protests in Jaffa, but I can't find anything. I'm just seeing if I can find this. He told me that this is happening, but, like, there's no evidence. It's not even on Twitter. This guy just said it was happening, but I can't even find it. There's just no evidence of this. Just no evidence at all. Can help liberate Palestine. I think learning as much about this stuff and talking as much about, about this stuff as much as you can is one of the few things that we can do. Like, never letting it leave your mind. And as much as you can, learning about it and trying to understand it and stuff. You know, I think that that's quite, like, that's an important thing that you can do. But yeah, I think that that's genuinely something that you can do. Have you seen Sydney Sweeney's dunk in... I have seen and heard about this. I haven't done much looking into it. What can make hunger in Gaza is the unholy coalition between the UN and Hamas. Each and every organisation in Gaza has to pay at least 15 to 20% of the humanitarian aid directly to the pockets of Hamas. There is no evidence of that. I love how this is just not something they quibble with. I assume you don't believe the Times' recent reporting... Oh, I suppose he quibbles with it next. That in fact Hamas has not systemically stolen UN aid, despite what Israeli officials have been saying. I invite you to read my report on X. It shows how false this report is. The UN and Hamas are not on a campaign to feed Gaza. They are on a campaign to stop the GHF from the distribution of food to Gaza. Why is that? Because they want a monopoly. The GHF is the private non-profit set up with American and Israeli backing to deliver food. Let's admit it's an Israeli-American creature that is focused on feeding Gazans. Well, the Israelis have said they're not funding it. Are you saying that they are? Well, I think he just fucked up there, because now he's got to say, I don't know if there is direct funding, but Israel is the organiser of the GHF. There has been a lot of time spent denying that. Israel is behind this foundation, but the idea is noble, and it is to keep humanitarian aid from becoming a weapon for survival of Hamas. Now here's the question to you. Why is the UN so obsessed with the GHF? By the way, there are loads of reasons for this. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation completely fails to get aid to people who actually need it. It requires people to walk too far, and the aid that it's giving is totally insufficient in the sense of, like, it's aid that's not being delivered to the right people, and there's also, like, it's not stuff like, you know, medication for kids, or, like, the kind of food that you really need for kids, you know, that's being delivered by experts rather than just idiots, you know. The hundreds of people who have been killed at GHF sites? No, this is what Hamas claims and what the NYT quotes. By the way, the vast majority of people killed in the GHF were killed by Hamas. Hamas tried to kill and shoot the people who came to take food from the GHF because the purpose is to save Hamas's regime. The vast majority of the deaths at or near the GHF sites have been attributed to the IOF. Haaretz reported last month that the army was deliberately firing at Palestinians seeking aid. Yeah, exactly. They are in no-go zones. And on the topic of, like, showing you how to search for stuff, I guess, yeah, I could do something like that. I mean, it's also like it's just like amalgamating news. And, like, I kind of explained it really poorly once on stream. I was like, well, when stuff was going on in Lebanon, what I would do is I would like go and look at the Hezbollah accounts. Then I'd go look at the pro-Israel accounts and, like, the OSINT accounts. And you kind of get, like, a message of, like, okay, what's actually going on and all of these things. So, like, you know, you kind of find out, like, an amalgamation of news, like, working it out. Because obviously you just don't believe everything that anyone says because all of it is slanted in a specific way. I mean, with certain organisations, though, when it's, like, what's different is when it really cuts through the grain. Like, obviously, I'm, like, uncritically kind of engaging with something like this, or Adam Tooze or something. So I'd say when it's an academic and someone who I know is respected by the academics I know, or, like, people I know of, that's when I'm like, okay, this person's worth listening to. But when it comes to news, if it's something that's cutting through the grain, like, you know, that isn't, like, wishy-washy, that's unequivocally like, hey, Israel is genocidal, I think that that's how you kind of, like, get to the point of, like, finding something that's worth listening to. Tucker Carlson just... Yeah, I mean, I would watch that, but I think Tucker Carlson content is blocked. I think if you watch it, you get banned, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, the former Green Beret guy, I do want to see that. By the way, I'm not the only one to understand this. President Biden, in October of 2023, actually forced Israel to provide humanitarian aid, right? And then he said, and I quote, if Hamas diverts... I'm not reading that Biden statement. Fuck Biden. For a long time, people have been saying that there's going to be mass starvation in Gaza. Even Netanyahu, a few months ago, warned about reaching a point of starvation after there'd been a complete shut-off of aid into the territory. Subsequently, more aid was allowed in. You are saying all these warnings were essentially not correct? I say that Gaza is not the US or Israel or Albania Albania, in which the regime takes care of the wellness of the people. Why did he just choose Albania? Like, why did he choose Albania as, like, somewhere that takes care of its people? Like, is Albania famous for helping its people? I don't know. I don't know. Albania number 1. But yeah. Every time they just straight up dismiss something because it's Hamas sources, just comes off as unprofessional and lazy. I mean, yeah, 100% it comes off as fucking lazy. But, like, also, this is just the thing. Like, talking to that guy who would have come on and denied starvation, he's not interesting. I've spoken to him before. If you come on and just deny starvation and point to, like, the minimal amount of articles which claim, yeah, there's, like, there's no, you know, starvation. You're just lying. You're just a straight up liar. Like, that's it. You're just a liar. Like, I mean, here's something here.
Stay away. Stay away. It's kids. It's children. Children. Stay there.
لا don't do this لا
Check your doors locked, manual lock as well, safety lock as well.
It's just so inhumane. Like, this shit is just barbarous. This shit is, like, heinous. It is unspeakable what is currently happening here in this video.
Foxtrot confirm received.
Also, you can see how gaunt some of these people are.
Received. Moving.
And by the way, there was an organisation in the UK, which actually, the UK Lawyers for Israel, tried to justify this in saying that it was good for Gaza to starve them.
Today we went on a mission to pick up food supplies from Kerem Shalom. One of the constraints that we faced was waiting about 2.5 hours at an Israeli forces checkpoint, which by the time we were allowed to pass, we were met on the road by tens of thousands of hungry and desperate people who directly offloaded everything from the backs of our trucks. Another constraint that we're facing is a very limited...
This is also the problem. There's no way to secure a safe area. Like, Israel is just not doing this. And this also means, by the way, this is not how aid should be delivered. Like, people who need it can't go there. Like, okay, everyone needs it there. But, like, people who really, really fucking need aid, people who really desperately need the aid, cannot get there. Because they're wounded, maybe they can't leave their kid who's, like, suffering from some kind of illness on their own. Maybe someone needs constant care in the family because of their injuries. And, like, they just can't go.
Time to load the cargo. And so we are unable to secure it properly with belts or tarps, which makes it very easily fall off from the backs of the trucks, as the roads are quite rough and sometimes we have to drive at quite high speeds. So these constraints have to be addressed. Access must be expanded. Much more food needs to be entering on a regular basis so that communities have the confidence that supplies are coming and that they will be receiving them and that they will be distributed properly.
Oh, 100%. The recognition of a Palestinian state is just performative. Whilst you are still saying, like, whilst you are still, like, saying that there's, like, a crisis in Gaza, it's like, that Sinead O'Connor song, okay, I want to talk about the famine, about how there was no famine. There's not really, like, famine or a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Israel is using starvation, as, like, as, like, a means, as a weapon towards ethnic cleansing. Like, look at this. Someone, like, genuinely... This is like Hitlerian levels of propaganda. UK Lawyers for Israel condemned over claim war may reduce obesity in Gaza. That is like sadistic. These people are like sick and you're allowed to do that and be respected in the UK. But yeah, that's the OCHA posting about what's happening in Gaza currently. I mean, it's inhumane, barbaric shit, but you know, Israel does this, and like this is what Israel is doing and getting away with still. Like they just starve people, and you're allowed to do this in the UK as well. Like you're just allowed to do this still. I'm gonna mute it because they're playing some dog shit music, which is probably fucking copyrighted. But like, bring them home. Stop the lies. There is no genocide in Gaza. Like, these people are sick. These people should be in prison. Like, you should go to prison for doing this. They have done everything in their power to, like, you know, they have done everything in their power to, like, neuter and arrest pro-Palestine protesters. And there's like 50 of these people. Just fucking arrest them. Send them to jail and say, like, hey, you can't protest in favor of genocide. Yeah, it's just like, and also the pride flags and stuff. What is there to be proud of in this? There are gay Palestinians being starved to death right now. And look how old they all are as well. There's like a couple of young people here. But even then, they're all still in their 40s. And then all like weird Iranian diaspora people. We will dance again. Oh, Jesus Christ. They also had IOF flags at the last pro-Israel protest in London. Like, just IDF flags. Like, what the fuck is that? And, like, also, it's just despicable. Just utterly despicable. Shameful shit. I see the entirety of Gaza leveled to the ground and the gaunt-starving faces of thousands of children. Then these Zion Nazis are just cheering for it. Yeah, it's like the guy who was, like, saying that I was anti-Semitic for using the term eternal victim. Like, I don't think I was using it in an anti-Semitic way. What I was saying is that, like, you're saying that I should just think that you're, like, some kind of victim and say, like, you invoke, like, oh, you're Jewish, I'm Jewish, and Palestinians are just going to kill all the Jews. It's like, hey, Palestinians are right now being exterminated because they're not Jewish. Like, that's as simple as that. Like, Palestinians are being exterminated because they are not Jewish. And like, right, and you want to deal in this counterfactual of like, Palestinians will kill everyone they get their hands on. And it's just like, it's not true, is it? You're just saying it. There's never even... I just googled it, actually. Apparently, eternal victim is just not like a dog whistle, even. We will dance again. You're literally dancing now. Nobody is stopping you dancing. Yeah, even in fucking, like, Tel Aviv, like, not far from Gaza. They're fucking dancing. They can do whatever they want. They can go to their shitty psytrance clubs. And yet, like, you're meant to believe that these people are, like, some victims who need to dance again. It's just despicable. Just utterly despicable. Let's just go back to Amit Sag. There was a cut-off from March to May, but here's the question. If the cut-off between March and May, was between March and May, how come the hunger and starvation began into July? Multiple aid experts told the New Yorker that the worst starvation would arrive sometime after the total cutoff. As Arif Hussein of the World Food Programme told the New Yorker, it is a delayed effect. Households and markets will have some stocks, then run out if no further supplies arrive. Like, these are the people, they're like, they had 6 months of supplies of food. It's like, where are you getting that from? Like, where do you get that from? And also, like, how is that equally distributed? It's six months to meet what? Like, the most basic needs of human beings? So if anyone dares to overeat because they have more money or something? Like, I don't know. And the answer is because Hamas steals the UN humanitarian aid in order to sell it and to sell it later, sell it or store it and to sell it later. The NYT reported last week that the Israeli military never... Oh, how have I done that? The Israeli military never found proof that the Palestinian militant group had systemically stolen aid from the UN, the biggest supplier of emergency assistance to Gaza for most of the war, according to 2 senior Israeli military officials and 2 other Israelis involved in the matter. In fact, the Israeli military officials said the UN aid delivery system, which Israel derided and undermined, was largely effective in providing food to Gaza's desperate and hungry population. The one I hate the fucking most is name one country that has to supply food to the enemy. It's so fucking bad. Oh, he says it here, but also there are examples historically of people doing this. Of, like, people historically doing this. The British did it in Malaysia, and like Israel, they used it as a weapon. They used it as a despicable weapon. Criminal shit. So the problem was fully created by Hamas, not by an Israeli decision to genocide Gaza. Israel is the only country on earth that provides humanitarian aid to the enemy in the middle of the war. Not true. It's the only country on earth. There isn't a single country that ever did it. That is just untrue. That is categorically untrue. I mean, America was providing aid to Afghanistan. America provided aid to, like, people in, you know, or like, many different places. America wanted to cut off aid and starve Afghanistan, but they didn't end up doing it. Jesus Christ. Israeli football fans are did any of you know this? Israeli football fans are doing it again. Let the Israeli army triumph to rape the Arabs. This morning in the streets of Bucharest, hundreds of supporters of the Israeli Beitar team marched chanting, "Rape Palestine and rape the Arabs." Great stuff as always. But remember, they were the victims. They were the poor victims of the anti-Semitic mob. And it was so anti-Semitic that people dared to say, actually, hang on a second, these people were fucking going out promoting genocide. Hamas is apparently the least and most effective. Oh yeah, Hamas is apparently so effective that Israel can't get control of everywhere with American government support and total air superiority, and it just really wants to feed the Palestinians, but for some reason just cannot fucking do that, you know? Also, if Israel is against providing the aid themselves, let the UN do it. That's what NGO aid is for. God, yeah, I know. They called it a pogrom. Yeah, they did call it a fucking pogrom. The question whether Israel will allow humanitarian aid into Gaza. They weren't paying for the UN aid. Many countries allow foreign aid to enter war zones. The only one interested in feeding Gazans these days is the GHF. That's because you banned and, like, didn't, like... Notice how, like, perverse this logic is, even from, like, an official government Israeli propagandist. Like, this is someone whose, like, you know, entire job is doing Hasbara, and he's just shit at it. Like, they're all shit at it. They're all just terrible. It doesn't even make sense. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. At all. Better be pro-Canada, because we're getting blowback for that shitty statement Carney made. Oh, it's very anti-Canada. There have been some right-wing ministers in the government, such as Itamar Ben-Gvir and Smotri, who've made comments about how aid should not be allowed into Gaza. I assume you're going to say that's not the official policy of the government, correct? Right, exactly. But they're the fucking cabinet. They have the power to collapse the Israeli government. The Israeli government did that. The Israeli government fucking did that. Like, they did that. So how is it not official policy? Like, why are you saying that? Like, it's so funny. Like, you're just saying, yeah, it's not the case, but, like, we did do that. Like, well, what does that mean? I just want to remember, the smart ones are not saying it out loud. They know they will lose critical international support. Yeah, that is the smartest thing they do. I hate how no one mentions that to peers. If these fascists are unhappy, they can easily dissolve the emergency government. Netanyahu has to listen to them say, oh, 100%, 100%. Like, all these people who say, they don't represent Israel. Why has Netanyahu won pretty much every election? I know he's lost at multiple times, but why has he dominated Israeli elections for his entire political career? Like, you know, like... He represents Israel, bro. He represents Israel. And everyone around him, Naftali Bennett, is incredibly fucking similar to him. You know? Like, Naftali Bennett is so incredibly similar to him. It's so funny to sit there and act as if, like... to act as if like they're some kind of like weird outliers. Like, oh, shut up. Okay, but do Smotri and Ben Gvir want the genocide you said wasn't going on? It's a little confusing to have people in the government essentially saying out loud what people are accusing Israel of doing. This is the nature of a parliamentary regime of a multi-party coalition. By the way, I feel like no one is fucking talking about this. I was about to say, like, I mean, genocide is not fucking normal in terms of just being like a common position held in your society. I mean, it's illegal under the International Convention. But like, also in the American Congress, you have Randy Fine, who says the Thump Thump Act will allow Americans to run over these Muslim terrorists. They don't try this in Florida because of the bill I helped pass in the legislature that allows to allow them to be run over. It's time to take it national. Thump Thump. This isn't also true. The community note says this, but like, this is an American congressman who's spoken about wanting the blood of Gaza to run through the streets. Also, I need likes. I need frickin' likes. More likes now. Just to put things straight, Smotri didn't say that humanitarian aid should not enter. He said that it should be done through the GHF. At multiple points during the genocide, Smotri has blocked or spoken out against aid entering Gaza. In 2024, stated, "No one in the world would allow us to starve 2 million people, even though it might be justified and moral in order to free the hostages." Ben Gvir actually did say this, along with many other stupid things. In the first months of the genocide, there was a consensus in Israel. Yair Golan, the centre-left politician, said on the 4th day of the war that we should not allow humanitarian aid until the hostages are back. This is not a good thing. This is just showing you the thing that, like, Israel is all the same, and he'll admit it. Don't listen to the TikTok haters. Your nose is lovely. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I wasn't actually concerned about my nose. I'm probably more concerned about, I don't know, not really actually that much. I just don't care when people say, like, you look bad or something like that. It's not going to upset me, you know. Thanks for the donation, though, Sarah. Shout out. If you look at the indictments in The Hague against Israel, you would see many of the quotes, and many of them belong to the centre-left. So fucking funny. So fucking funny. He's like, yeah, the Hague case against us. That actually includes the centre left as well. The people who, like, you know, when people are like, oh, there's this good, just and moral Israel. It's so fucking funny. It's so fucking funny because, like, you know, even he's fucking admitting it. Yeah, actually, the centre left are just like this as well. Also, I just want to show you a video of aid dropping.
ليش يعني ما لازم نحن نجري ورا المساعدات للبلد ونقعد نجري هذا وهذا؟ ليش يا عمي توقفوا كل هالرمي هذا الذل اللي بيصير فينا؟ يا عمي لازم يجي الشاحنات من المساعدات عشان الواحد يجي باحترام ويروح ياخذ كبونته مش فوق بعض غير كاتل.
There is no, yeah, he's right. There is absolutely no fucking dignity in any of this. There is no dignity in any of this. Like, this is just despicable. Did you see the airdrop video by Sky News? I saw some of it, yeah. Or one of them, sorry. It also apparently just falls in areas where Palestinians can't get it. Like, they just can't get it. But, like, yeah, this article is so fucking funny. So fucking ridiculous. You can smell farts before they happen. You know what they say about big noses. This is what's confusing. If no aid should be let in, then people are going to starve. And you're saying that's the consensus in Israel. But you're also saying Israel's not going to starve anyone. No, because it's two different things. First of all, there is a difference between a war that lasts, I don't know, a few weeks and one that lasts 2 years. And second, it's theoretical. Because when Biden arrived in Israel, in the second week of the war, there was a decision made by the Israeli cabinet that humanitarian aid would enter Gaza. I mean, it's just like... why did you read that comment? He never reads that in my comments. I mean, I read comments. It's just there's a lot of them, and they're always going quite quickly. There's not so many people in here today. I wonder why. I wonder what's, like, pushed the numbers down. Maybe it's the title being less like clickbaity and stuff. And I haven't uploaded a video in a while. I need to upload some videos. I was going to upload one, but my fucking phone thing wasn't working, which is annoying. Right. Israel cut off aid completely, as we talked about, for over 2 months between March and May, and after the GHF was set up, and it was set up in part because Netanyahu didn't want to be seen as allowing aid into Gaza. That's why it was given this American imprimatur, because he didn't want to piss off the far right, which doesn't want aid to enter. I mean, this is true, by the way. My headset worked. It wasn't working, but they started working. I'm here, Chris. Don't worry. Good. I don't know what the record player is. It's an old one. It's not mine. But, like, yeah, just on this topic of, like, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, Israel literally did this whole PR thing to try and make it look like, yeah, the GHF is not, you know, like, some, like, Israeli creation. It's not like that at all. But, like, they've just sort of just completely denied that now. They're just like, yeah, it's like, it's just so obvious that they did this. Toad, stop being a bro, or else I'll make a super chat of you and he'll have to read it. I'll intentionally ignore it if it mentions Toad Burger. Sorry, I can't. I've actually lost my ability to read. Oh, Coffee Lover is a Chad. Thank you so much, Coffee Lover. No, not at all. This was a Smotri initiative. So why is Israel denying they are behind it? I guess because it would not help Gazans if the food had an Israeli flag on it. Okay, go on. That seems... There are rumours that Israel is funding the GHF. I haven't seen proof so far, but Israel is behind it. But I have to ask you something. You spoke about 20 children who died a year ago in Gaza from dehydration. If it happened, it's a tragedy. I don't think that there is anyone who wants to see babies and children die. Maybe people in the Israeli cabinet, but beyond that, there isn't a single Israeli minister that wants to see babies die. That is just categorically false. You know how I know it? Because Israel has a nuclear weapon. If Israel really wanted to have a genocide, it would have already... This is also, by the way, such a false argument, because if Israel used a nuke in Gaza, the fallout would come back to Israel, and it would also poison the sea, no? It would have, like, disastrous effects that are more than... that are already there for, like, the blowback on Israel. But yeah, it's like, it's really funny. If you won't find a single initiative by an Israeli cabinet minister who wants to kill babies on purpose. You know about Ben-Gvir in the wedding. Which one? Where there was dancing. Which one? Pretending to stab Palestinians. This is also an odd segment because they don't mention the name. It was a disgusting event in which someone stabbed the picture of the baby, and it was disgusting. In 2015, at a wedding that Ben-Gvir attended, dancing guests held up a photograph of a Palestinian baby called Ali Dawabshe, whose brother met Cristiano Ronaldo, and there's like this... hold on, I'll see if I can find it, because it's really comical. It has like... I don't think I'll be able to play the music. Oh, also, by the way, Francesca Albanese has been declared as immune from sanctions by the United Nations. Which is good-ish, I guess. Sorry. Several months earlier, and one guest stabbed the picture with a knife. Ben-Gvir was the lead arsonist attorney. He later called the display at the wedding stupidity. And there are indictments because Israel is a law and order state. Ben-Gvir didn't do that. Maybe he participated. I wouldn't have taken part in an event like this. He doesn't really condemn the stabbing of the baby picture, you know. He says it's disgusting, but like, he doesn't really have a problem with that guy going on to be elected a minister. That's good to know. I don't know how the immunity works. I'll see if I can tell you quickly. 2 weeks ago, the US imposed sanctions on Albanese. Marco Rubio imposed sanctions, citing oral and written statements. On the same day, Ambassador Jörg Lauber, the president of the council, emphasized that special rapporteurs are an essential instrument of the council in fulfilling its mandate to protect all human rights worldwide, and called on UN member states to refrain from any acts of intimidation or reprisal against them. So there's your answer. Like, basically just telling UN member states, don't do that. Law and order state, yeah, I mean, it's fucking hilarious. Like, also, the person who killed Ali Dawabsheh is called Amiram Ben Ulil, and there are members of the Israeli Knesset who believe that he should be relieved. Hold on, I'll respond to that in a second. Unlike Candace, Francesca is fine. You're okay to say that. She's got a lot of style. I don't want to show you my Facebook. Ben Gavir visited him apparently as well. Like, Ben Gavir loves this guy who burnt the baby alive. Like, he burnt the baby alive. Like, so yeah. I have seen B'Tselem saying it, but to be honest, it's a long report, and, like, I don't know why I'd cover it, because, like, ultimately, I know Israel's doing genocide. Like, we know Israel's doing genocide. It's been reported by so many people, but yeah. It's pronounced Francesca Albanese. Why did you say... You just typed it out, so that wouldn't help. But, okay, there are 7 big reports in the New Yorker about the so-called starvation in Gaza, but there are 0 reports about a genocidal event, the massacre of Druze in Syria, over the last few weeks, and 0 reports about 7 million displaced in Congo. I just want to offer the idea that the West is preoccupied with the state of Israel, murdering and genociding Gazans and Palestinians, even when there is no proof. By the way, we looked into that yesterday with the Adam 2 stuff on Tuesday. You just said so-called starvation. In your own piece, you quote someone saying mass starvation seems inevitable without a change of strategy. But it's a little confusing, because if Hamas decides who eats, then why is Israel changing its policy? If Hamas has all the food, it can do whatever it wants. Why has there been a panic in official Israeli circles that things are getting out of hand? Hamas does it, but the world blames Israel for it. This guy is so fucking stupid. This guy is literally, like, insanely stupid. Like, his argument just doesn't stand up. Like, what is he even saying? But why will a policy change by Israel matter if Hamas is controlling everything? Because once you flood the area with food, you actually prevent this argument from being heard. There is footage today from the markets in central Gaza in which there is plenty of bread, flour and food, and each and every kind of commodity. When I followed up to ask what footage he was referring to, he sent me a clip that he said was from the Abu Ali Express, which Haaretz has called a news channel for PSYOPs. The video appears to show 2 young men in a room containing some food supplies, putting small snack packages in bags. It's like... Who believes this? In 2021, Ben Gavir tweeted a photo of you two together and said that you signed a personal dedication for him in the book. I don't really remember. I sold 80,000 copies of the book. You can take the fact that he bought a book and asked me for a signature in the Knesset as evidence that I'm his best buddy. But if you want to make a good journalist, no. I think he's a clown. I think I defined one of his Knesset members as a terror supporter. Genocide can happen at once. Like, Druze are being prejudiced against, so how could Israel... I mean, also, what's happening to Druze, what's happening to people is a product of American and Israeli-backed operations in Syria for decades that degraded the Assad regime and have descended it into chaos. I mean, not to, like, go out to bat for Assad, but it's just not surprising that this is the point that you've ended up at, right? Like you empowered HTS, and even if Ahmed al-Shara is, like, willing to sort of change, maybe he actually has changed. I think some of the people around him, you're gonna struggle so much to get them to change. Like, they're not gonna change. Like, truth be told, they're just not gonna change. Got the same argument as comments when I started posting. I did delete them as I don't think they can be reached. I mean, I don't think people like this can be reached, no. Let's take a step back. As you see it, what is the long-term goal of the war at this point? The long-term war of the war is to dismantle Hamas in Gaza. I mean, the rest of it's just kind of like, I'll finish it. The Times magazine had a big piece a few weeks ago basically saying that this war has been continuing for political reasons for well over a year. That Netanyahu essentially knew that there was nothing left to accomplish militarily a year ago. And one thing that's strange to me is that much of the debate, both in America and Israel, includes these impassioned arguments about the purpose of the war. But the article and much other reporting about Netanyahu has made me think it's not even clear he believes that he can truly dismantle Hamas. What do you make of this dissonance? The smartest thing for a politician to do, especially Netanyahu, is to win this war as fast and as decisively as possible. It's very unpopular to have an ongoing war. When Netanyahu defeated Iran in 12 days, he enjoyed huge support. There is no logic behind the argument that Netanyahu wants to prolong the war. I read the NYT piece, by the way. I talked to one of the reporters who wrote it. He didn't quote me at the end. Now the question is there an alternative for a faster end to the war? And there is one. That Israel withdraws to the original borders, thus leaving Hamas free to rearm itself. We'd exchange all the hostages for every single terrorist and murderer who is imprisoned in Israel, including those who committed October 7th massacre. In my opinion, and Netanyahu's opinion, and in the opinion of many Israelis, this would necessarily lead to yet another October 7th. Because if you let Hamas stay in power in the Middle East, after doing those horrible things, it would pave the way for another event. Even the leaders of the opposition, most of them, when you ask them whether they would end the war and have the same borders, they say no. So this is why you support moving all Gazans from Gaza. No, I don't support moving all Gazans from Gaza. You commented on Trump's proposal to remove Gazans from Gaza. There is no way in the world that we could have hoped for something better. But Trump did not offer deportation. He offered emigration. The fact now is that Gazans are not allowed to leave Gaza. Egypt blocks the road. All I want to do is let Gazans be like Isaac or Amit and to live wherever they want. If it's Gaza, so be it. If it's another country, so be it. Trump said they would not be permitted to return to Gaza. First of all, I am not Trump's spokesperson. You said you could not have hoped for something better. I support the idea of letting Gazans emigrate. I mean, fucking insane. There's so much to unpack in there of just like what he's like. It's like listening to my psychopath ex justify cheating. I mean, it's insane. Chris, do you know anything about this Montevideo convention that the Lords are citing? Bro, I think that the people citing it are just pro-Israel genocidal stooges and pieces of shit who don't care about genocide normally. Who don't care about international law when it comes to genocide and literally only care about it because like it's just a means to like support Israel unequivocally. Like I think it's that. Hi Sophie, how you doing? Right, let's talk about Canada.
The reasons I cited earlier, Canada intends to recognize the state of...
Wait, actually, I just want to see if I can find a longer Mark Carney Palestine video. The only thing that I will say, there is kind of one thing I'm kind of surprised about. I kind of think it's, this is Amit Sag was being interviewed in that article. It's in the New Yorker.
Baby Muntaha is just weeks old, but her grandmother has resorted to feeding her tea. There is no food, and her mother has been killed.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just giving a baby fucking water. Like tea.
How am I supposed to feed the child? She's an orphan. How can I give her tea? How can I feed her lentil soup when the child isn't even 3 months?
Say my name or I will cry. Okay, Mr. Burger, thank you.
Old yet.
Hunger is leading to desperation, and families will resort to anything to feed those whose lives have only just begun. The In the Zakim area of northern Gaza, they carry flour to make what basic provisions they can. Israel's own data shows only 14% of the volume of aid recommended by the UN has entered Gaza in recent weeks, but reports today of dozens of Palestinians killed as they waited for humanitarian supplies, with hundreds more injured. The IDF said it was not aware of any casualties.
We see death with our own eyes. We want to eat, man. It's all fire and killing.
International pressure to stop the
It's just all really sad, to be honest. Like, just watching this, like, just seeing the degradation of human beings reduced to doing this.
Humanitarian disaster has led 3 G7 countries in recent days to say they will recognise the state of Palestine. Canada now follows France and the UK.
Canada will...
Yeah, the reason I put this one on, I know it's longer, is because it's also talking about the trade deal, which I've not seen, because I think this has happened basically when I was streaming. No, or near when I was streaming. So, like, yeah, I mean... To me, the main thing that I'm surprised about is that they were willing to defy Trump. They were so willing to do exactly what he said, you know. Don't worry, Toadburger, it's not inappropriate timing at all. It's, yeah. Why are they shooting during the humanitarian aid? Why? Because, like, genuinely, these are, like, ISIS-level religious fanatics who believe that they have a right to wipe out Palestinians. And they're given guns and they're given carte blanche, alibi to do whatever they want.
Always steadfastly support Israel's existence as an independent state in the Middle East, living in peace and security.
And still, they're just talking about fucking Israel as if it has some right. Like, sorry? Like, why does Israel have any right? Like, you say Hamas has no right to rule after October the 7th. Why does Israel have a right to fucking exist after October the 7th? As it's genocide even before that.
Any path to lasting peace for Israel also requires a viable and stable Palestinian state, and one that recognizes Israel's inalienable right to security and peace.
Mark Carney said there were stipulations including elections without Hamas, but Israel said Canada's position amounted...
Hamas would agree to this. I think, in fact, Hamas have already agreed. It's basically... The main problem is they might put in something like Hamas must disarm, and Hamas won't accept that. Hamas will not accept disarming. They might accept, though. I did read something that recently Hamas were willing to keep small arms, but they weren't, like, they said that they'd get rid of, like, larger weaponry, like rocket launchers and stuff.
...to a reward for Hamas and accused Canada of harming the efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza.
They need food, and they need people to be able to get them the food.
Bro, he's going the way of Logan Roy. That's all I'm saying.
But declarations of statehood remain...
And you'll have, like, a scene where J.D. Vance is just, like, crying his fucking eyes out. Like, going, Daddy's dead!
Slogans without strategies. And without US backing...
1,000 years of carny! How does recognizing the state of Palestine do anything when there is no Palestine left? I mean, it's even if there was a Palestine left. The problem is that recognizing it whilst Israel exists doesn't work. Is recognizing a Palestinian state whilst Israel exists... pointless.
It's difficult to see how a two-state solution might materialise. Donald Trump does not support the creation of a Palestinian state.
Wow! Canada has just announced that it is backing statehood for Palestine. That will make it very hard for us to make a trade deal with them. Oh, Canada! I like how he's being silly. He's being silly. Mark Carney, more like more carnage. How the fuck do we get these monsters? Oh, exactly. These people are fucking monsters. But yeah, like... Also, this is actually what I'm more surprised about. I am more surprised that these countries have been willing to defy Trump after bootlicking him. I know I've said this over and over again, but I genuinely cannot believe that they've gone against him when this is some guy who they just fucking, like, have done everything, like, just danced his exact step.
And criticised Canada's decision on social media. That will make it very hard for us to make a trade deal with them, Trump said. Oh, Canada. But it also leaves the US more isolated in its stance. In Israel, US President Donald Trump's envoy to the Middle East.
The funny thing is I think even if Biden was in power, what Biden would do is he'd release a statement saying, I like Palestine, but it's not the right time. Now my son has to do some crack.
Steve Witkoff has arrived and is expected to meet officials today as international pressure mounts and the humanitarian situation deteriorates further. In the UK, 40 members of the House of Lords have said that commitment to Palestinian statehood could breach international law. In the last 24 hours, the UAE...
Ah, great! The unelected pieces of shit are telling us. Great, glad to hear.
said it had conducted more aid drops because it is food that remains the immediate problem. And without urgent aid, doctors in Gaza's hospitals say more will starve to death. And whatever the status of statehood, these children are yet to see anything change for them.
Well, Yossi Meckelberg is a consulting fellow at Chatham House. Thank you for joining us. Can you tell us more about this letter to Keir Starmer? Who signed it and what have those in the House of Lords said?
Well, as far as I understand, as an international lawyer, recognizing a state should meet the criteria of the Montevideo Convention about having a permanent territory, functioning, governing, and the rest. And I think this is an attempt to stop recognition. I find it quite interesting that when what we see over the last 22 months of...
Yeah, like, honestly, the House of Lords up in arms over this, but, like, just not giving a fuck. Does the king say hi? I mean, if you're talking about me, yeah, I'll say hi. Hello.
Daily violation of international law, and maybe by recognition of a Palestinian state, I think would stop much more serious violation of international humanitarian law, Geneva Conventions, and other things that are happening on the ground as we speak. Peers are finding to be that legalistic about the recognition. I will add to that, at the end of the day, if we want the international community to recognize Palestinian state, we know it has to go through the Security Council, and this, unfortunately, will be blocked by the United States.
How legitimate is the claim that the Prime Minister could risk breaching international law with his pledge to recognise...
It's also just so funny. Like, do you think Keir Starmer has any interest in international law?
Palestine as a state, what basis would they have for that?
Again, I will ask the question, what is the UK and so many other countries? They've done part of their obligation to international humanitarian law to stop the war in Gaza, to see the end of tens of thousands of people killed, of stopping that humanitarian aid doesn't enter. And, compared to that, whether there is a breach of international law or not when it comes to recognizing Palestinian state, we know that more than 140 states around the world have done it. France and Canada declared their intention. So again, I'm not an international lawyer, but I just ask myself if this is the most important part of this saga of recognizing Palestinian state. And
international law means jack shit to the West. Oh, it's like every Zionist. International law means fucking nothing. Like very, very, very explicit international law shows off very explicit international law, sorry. They're like, oh yeah, we don't have to care about that. But like, when it's like, when it's like something that's like some minute detail, they're like, yep, this actually means that you can't have international law at all. Israel's doing genocide. Oh yeah, I think we should just like unequivocally support that. I'm not sure that sounded like Obama, by the way, to go back a while. Starmer was a human rights lawyer as much as Harold Shipman was a doctor. Yeah, I agree with you that. But wouldn't recognising Palestine annex parts occupied by settlers? Unfortunately, yeah, some of those settlers, they'd get annexed. RIP. I mean, I think it would be more that Palestinians were guaranteed more protections under international law. But I'm so unfazed by it because, like, the Israeli government doesn't care. They're undermining it. And also, by the way, So, Jessica Seymour, who's a public lawyer, has like a very different take on this. Let's see what she was saying earlier. But also, by the way, and there's also, she tweeted this is also worth noting. Isn't it funny how, like, this was published by BBC News, Sky News, The Times? Like, I'm sorry, the Israel lobby and its control in Western media is fucking impressive. Like, its power to just get this story published when it, like other stories are published when it's also quite horrifying because I think a lot of stuff about Gaza's only published because it is such a grotesque spectacle that people are like willing to listen to, like basically. And the lawyers, and apparently the amount of lawyers who are telling them this is 10 fucking lawyers. Oh, yeah, I am one of those Power Rangers. International law is sacrosanct when Sama thinks it suits his pet projects, like surrendering Chagos, but it's brushed aside when it doesn't support his agenda. Abiding by international law was the one thing Starmer seemed to actually believe in, but with Labour backbenchers turning on him, he's abandoned it. Starmer really is the puppet minister. This guy is such a pro-genocide, Ozempic-taking freak.
Got a hold of him, and then I couldn't.
Just the worst guy around. And here you have Emily Damari, the former hostage. Wow, I need to hear the opinion of someone who was in the IOF. As a dual British-Israeli citizen who survived 471 days in Hamas captivity, I am deeply saddened by your decision, Keir Starmer, to recognise Palestinian statehood. This move does not advance peace. It risks rewarding terror. It sends a dangerous message that violence earns legitimacy. Bro, what do you think the creation of Israel is? How do you think states work? Violence is legitimacy for the very concept of states, basically. Oh, of course they're clutching at any straw. It's this, so they described it, someone described it very well on the True and on GHF thing. When the Zionists get any singular win, that is all they talk about. They go bam, 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 bam. It must be pushed out in every media outlet. Everyone has to hear it. And you are meant to disregard every single thing that has ever happened. By legitimising a state entity while Hamas still controls Gaza and continues its campaign of terror, you are not promoting a solution, you are prolonging the conflict. Recognition under these conditions emboldens the extremists and undermines any hope for genuine peace. Shame on you. What the fuck is this person talking about? Like, why is this someone who people think their opinion is worthwhile? They're an extremist who was in the IOF and got taken as a prisoner of war, basically.
The catch-22, because Israel is blocking any negotiation or peace process, because it builds settlements, because it makes the life of Palestinians impossible, because it was active in preventing election for many years among the Palestinians, even if the Palestinians themselves...
By the way, that's also the funny thing. Palestinians want elections. The people not doing the elections are the dogs of Israel, the Palestinian Authority, who have become authoritarian. They denied Yasser Arafat from having an election that he wanted.
Have to take also responsibility for that. If the condition is to have a permanent territory and having a functioning government, but the country that is against having a two-state solution, the Palestinian sense blocking that, we are in a situation that this is not going to happen unless Israel gets...
No, that's Mia Shem who got the nose job.
Anything in negotiation, which also is blocked.
Yes, actually, Warhammer Historian, I think they did say that everyone needs to donate at least £200 minimum.
A viable peace process reaching a two-state solution.
Some have...
I'll take the kidneys, but they will be sold. I already have too many kidneys at home.
Criticised the lack of substance and suggested this is symbolic. It doesn't actually change anything on the ground. So to what extent does recognising statehood actually mean anything tangible?
First, symbolism is important in international affairs and it's important in diplomacy. So I won't dismiss such symbolic act, especially when it's done not only by one country, but a group of countries. Two of them permanent member of the Security Council, three of them members of the G7. It creates some momentum. So I don't think it's right to dismiss it. It's just trying to...
Interesting that he says that. I think my problem is just like, I find it really hard to take it so seriously, you know, when you're like kind of still having the relationship with Israel. I feel like doing that is just fucking crazy to me. I think it's just like, yeah, Yahya Sinwar W. I mean, I'm not sure... no, Hamas are designated a terror organisation by the UK government, and I must respect that. Oh, let me just go wave my IOF flag in public, the people who've killed more than 60,000 people.
Change the imbalance of power, or some of the imbalance of power between Israel and Palestine.
How much pressure is now on the US and Israel after all of this?
I think it puts some pressure, but we know that in both countries there are governments and leaders that don't necessarily respond in the way that's expected to pressure. But having said that, we saw that, you know, the pressure when it comes...
Yahya Sinwar's death was probably the fucking craziest thing in, like, since this happened. Because the way he died and, like, the iconography of all of it was, like, truly just, like, unbelievable that Israel had the stupidity to release the fucking video.
To Gaza,
and then they were all like, he died like a dog. And it's just like, did he though? Or, like... Your politicians literally sit there as they just burn people alive from the air and massacre starving people waiting for aid. Do you think you really look like the ones who are like, you know, some kind of like good or amazing thing?
Mr. Netanyahu, at least in his statement, even if not always in practice, already talked about, yes, there is humanitarian crisis, there is a need to ensure that there is more food in Gaza. Even some of the extreme right wing try to spin it. Yes, we need to bring more food into Gaza because it stops Israel from defeating Hamas. So there is response to pressure, but so far the international community hardly used a small part of the leverage that it has in terms of putting pressure. So as long as they respond, the unpredictable, the known unknown is always how President Trump is going to react to that. We already have possibility that.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I kind of lost attention because I was just looking at the chat and what people were talking about Sinwar. Yeah, I mean, Sinwar fought till his last breath, and you know, like ultimately Netanyahu hides his children from the Gaza, like from going anywhere near Gaza. He hides his pathetic little rat son in fucking New York, and I only use that term because Miami, because he's just awful.
I learned this in the Torah class.
Sorry, I just want to watch this video quickly.
Did you learn this in England?
Hamza follows me.
I learned this in the Torah class, yeah.
In the Torah
I learned this in
class.
Israel and in England, exactly.
You have 1948, where 750,000 Palestinians were displaced from their
Thousands of
homes.
Palestinians were displaced and thousands were killed, exactly.
And that was justified?
That was justified.
What about what's happening in Gaza right now? Is that justified?
Yes.
And
yes.
the 50,000 Palestinians that were killed?
They started it. Gaza started it.
Okay. The 20,000 children that were killed in Palestine, is that justified?
Yeah, because they're going to grow up to be Hamas.
It is kind of mad that, like, these people are, like, they genuinely just have white skin and don't have scary long beards, so, like, people don't see it for what it is. This guy is, like, no different from an ISIS fan member. He is, like, a radical, Salafist extremist of any colour, stripe, organisation anywhere. Like, crazy that people like this exist. And are just, like, this guy would be allowed to go to a protest and fly an IOF flag, and he, like, genuinely believes in, like, mass killing people.
Exactly.
Ya Allah.
Ya Allah. Yeah, exactly.
He's also such an odd guy.
They get taught from a young age to become.
This is very sad. This is very
sad for you.
Did you learn this in England?
I learned this in the Torah class. Yeah.
In the Torah
I learned this in
class.
Israel and in England. Exactly.
You are brainwashed to the core. You understand that?
I think you're the one that's brainwashed, Hamza.
You are saying it's okay for children to be killed. Pregnant women. There are children in those.
They're all
20,000 children that were killed. That's okay?
Yeah.
What the hell is Omei TV anyway?
Because they're going to grow up to be.
But you could say that about any kid in the whole.
Like the stream nerds. Michelle, you're correct about that much, but I don't know how much more I'll do. I'm just going to cover quickly the
entire.
It's in the title, so I should probably mention it.
World that they can grow up and be this and that.
Other kids in the whole entire world aren't going to grow up to be terrorists, Hamza.
Look at the way you're speaking. It sounds like you're. It sounds like you are speaking with language. You're speaking with very
Israeli citizen.
You are speaking with very genocidal mannerisms.
You're not.
If you want to.
Yeah, crazy guy, but doesn't really fucking surprise me. I feel like there are just a lot of deranged people who are just allowed to do this because they're sort of just very, 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 you know, because they're pro-Israel, basically. Have all of you seen this fucking photo? It's crazy. This is the starvation from space. Like, look at this. A dense crowd. So fucking inhumane, man. It's so inhumane. So fucking inhumane. I guess I'll just mention it really quickly. Maybe we'll touch on it tomorrow, because I am going to go live tomorrow now, I think. Basically, and I'm not going to do a TikTok live, or if I do, I'm going to do it earlier and make sure I want to be on here by 5 PM. I'm just tired, because it's obviously I've been live for now like 3 hours, and normally I don't do that. But yeah, basically there's a CBC report which covers this. No, it's not by CBC, but CBC reported on it. Reports suggest arms still flow from Canada. So like the UK, they've been getting away on some bullshit technicalities of like, hey, let's give weapons to Israel still to do genocide. What was I going to search? Here's PYM's Instagram post. Let's just quickly pull this up. Canada is arming genocide and lying to Canadians. For the first time, the full picture of Canada's support for Israel's war machine is revealed. The report uncovered hundreds of shipments of weapons and military goods from Canada to Israel between October 2023 and July 2025. 421,070 bullets were exported to Israel since the Gaza genocide began, including one shipment in April 2025 alone containing 175,000 bullets. The report identified over 100 international flights transporting Canadian weapons to Israel, 64 of them commercial passenger flights where military cargo was loaded beneath travelers. Bro, that is crazy. That is crazy that they donated, that they were like literally supplying the weapons underneath people. Shipments were dispatched from 7 Canadian cities, destined primarily for Israel's largest weapons company, Elbit Systems. Fuck Elbit and its subsidiaries, along with other Israeli defense firms. Amidst lies and mischaracterization of the status of Canada-Israel arms trade, the Canadian government has been actively arming and documented genocide in violation of both domestic and international law under the Genocide Convention and Arms Treaty. It is insane shit. It is fucking crazy that this is going on. This was done by PYM and like Canadian Jewish Voice for Peace, maybe? No, Independent Jewish Voices for Canada. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me that much. The the Canadian government, all these people recognizing Palestine now have unequivocally supported the genocide. They're using it as like a pressure valve. That's what you need to see this as. What they are doing by recognizing Palestine is seeking to alleviate some of the huge pressure that is mounting from direct and very bloody complicity in Israel's genocide. Right, guys, gonna end it here. I'll be live again tomorrow. Should be working on the Superman video. If I can get shit done by tomorrow, I'll be putting it up. On Sunday, probably. If not, it will be next week. But, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Thank you all for coming. Thank you everyone who donated and supported. Have a lovely rest of the evening. See you all tomorrow.